Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Pop Preview. I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.
I'm Mina.
And today we're watching Solo, a Star Wars story trailer number 2.
Solo, a Star Wars story. It's kind of a tongue twister, right?
Bit, yeah.
Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Solo, a Star Wars story.
Say it 5 times fast. I guarantee you're doing it right now, aren't you?
Solo,
I know you're doing it out loud. People are looking at you weird.
Yeah, I don't know why Lucasfilm is sticking with a Star Wars story. Like, if you don't know it's a Star Wars story, then there's no hope for you.
It is kind of a weird subtitle, right?
Yeah.
We talked about in the Deadpool, the last Deadpool trailer review about how we thought it was really strange that there wasn't a subtitle because that's so common now. But I guess apparently they just maybe couldn't think of one. They're like, oh, we have to have something because that's just what people do nowadays. Star Wars story, yeah.
Well, I mean, they still did it with Rogue One, so it's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's like...
So people know that it's Star Wars. So that people who are already fans of the franchise know to draw more people in, kind of.
I guess, but I mean, if it's...
Maybe it's a marquee thing, you know, like on the marquee. I don't know. I really don't know. If you guys know about this subtitle, it's a very specific thing to be talking about. But...
Well, they were originally going to go with Star Wars, an anthology.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Blank. Yeah, which sounds way better than a Star Wars story.
Huh. I mean, so like, what if they do like the Obi-Wan movies? That's also a Star Wars story. Is that going to be the subtitle for every Star Wars?
Yes.
Like...
Yes. That's the idea. Is like that's how you.
People don't know what anthology means. Kids don't know what anthology
and maybe that's
means.
why they didn't go with that. But that sounds way better than a Star Wars story. But like, yeah, it would be Obi-Wan, a Star Wars story.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that's what it'll be.
I don't. That's so not.
Book
creative.
it here.
It's not
Obi-Wan, a
not
Star
very
Wars
creative.
story.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Anyway, maybe I'm wrong.
I think with this trailer, we're going to get a lot more of the story.
Right. We saw the last one, and it wasn't very plot heavy. We just saw our favorite characters sort of back in action, which, you know, is sort of the way that recently we've been seeing trailers. There's the teaser to let you know that it's coming. There's the first trailer that's released that doesn't really give you much plot. It just, you get to see the characters again. And then there's the second trailer, which usually gives you a little bit more of the story.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so this one's 2:28. Let's just jump in and we talk about it.
Okay.
You're after something. Is it revenge? Money? Or is it something else? You look good. A little rough around the edges, but good.
Heard about a job. Big shot gangster putting together crew.
I'm a driver, and I'm a flyer. I waited a long time for a shot like this. What do you think? Well, what do you know?
You got a line on a ship?
Yeah, I know a guy. He's the best smuggler around.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true. Everything you've heard about me is true.
L3!
Let go of the mean man's face.
Who are these guys? If you come with us, you're in this life for good.
You might want to buckle up, baby.
Here they come! Let me give you some advice. Assume everyone will betray you, and you will never be disappointed.
I got a really good feeling about this.
Since when do you know how to fly?
190 years old? You look great.
Push it! So glad we took this job!
Every time I see one of these, I get more and more excited. I'm really, really liking the departure from the style that they've established in the last 8 episodes.
Yeah, and that's what's got me excited too, because it looks like Star Wars, but doesn't feel like Star Wars. And I think that's what
But
they're
it
trying
is.
Yeah, I know, and hence
Yeah.
a Star Wars story. But I think that's what they're trying to do with these standalones is like they're part of the same universe, but then the directors have their own freedom to create their own style, do their own thing, tell their own kind of story. Because theoretically, you can do almost whatever you want with Han Solo. You can do whatever you want as long as by the end of this, he's kind of the Han we know by the time episode 4 comes along.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to me, and like we're gonna see a lot of things that I'm hoping we're gonna see. Like I'm pretty sure that game they were playing is maybe that's how maybe
He gets to know Jabba,
Jabba, or that's how he gets to maybe he wins the Falcon that way because they kind of alluded to that. Like, what do you want? And there's a picture of the Falcon, and he knows we know eventually he swindles Lando out of it.
Right.
So like, what are the stories about Lando? Like, I'm curious to see all the things that we didn't really want to know, but this movie's gonna give us. So I'm curious to see what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I want to say one thing: the fact that there's 2 Wookiees, and that it looked like maybe it was Chewie's girlfriend or wife or something, or because they're like touching heads, they're like doing this thing.
Maybe
I
right?
have no idea. I only saw one Star Wars movie.
So
Which one?
would you want?
The recent one.
So would you want to see this based on your non-knowledge?
Yeah, because I feel like this one stands alone. Like, I don't really need to know the evolution of anything. I just
That's
need
true.
to know about one character, and it seems... I don't know if it's going to be character-driven or plot-driven, but it's focusing on Han Solo.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to know about what happens. I can watch this, and then watch
That's
Star Wars
true,
later on.
and you know, it's pretty common actually that people haven't seen the original Star Wars. Like, I feel like I talk to someone every once in a while who hasn't, which is a shock to me because I grew up watching them. But so many people haven't. So this is actually a really nice, and so they've sort of been alienated from these newer movies because, you know, they are sort of all tied together. So this is nice because it's going to maybe bring some of the people who are not traditionally fans into the franchise.
I totally agree because a lot of people were like, well then, when The Force Awakens came out, like, oh, well, do I have to watch the original trilogy first or do I watch the prequels first? So, like, there's a lot of questions about that, but with this, I kind of agree with you. You don't even really need to know who Han Solo is because this movie is going to explain to you exactly who he is and how he becomes the person that we meet in Episode 4. So as a Star Wars fan, I'm like, oh, that's how this, like, there's going to be tie-ins that will make sense to us, but it won't confuse you.
Right.
But things will just, like, make more sense to us as fans than to you. But I still think you can watch it and appreciate it as a complete standalone movie, because that's basically what it is.
Why were you guys saying that it's so different stylistically? Because when I was watching the trailer, I just felt like it had a 90s vibe to it, and I don't know where I got that from, but I felt it in the editing a little bit.
There's definitely, I don't know about the editing, but in terms of the production design, they've tried really hard to stick to the original production design from like the late 70s, right? Which is sort of this weird like gray plastic, like bulky looking machinery that's not very futuristic. Like think of Star Trek, like the newer ones, right? That's very crisp, shiny, lens flares, like it's really clean vibe.
Yeah.
It was futuristic.
It's a really clean, it's a really
like how 70s movies
and
portrayed
so
the future.
and so that may be where you're feeling like it might be a little vintage. Is they really have tried to hold on to that aesthetic, but they're using these new techniques in visual effects and
like
music. You could hear the sound design in this where it's very rhythmic and it's sort of going with the music. Also, the song is basically like a remix of the. You've heard the Star Wars song, right?
Yeah.
Like, da-da-da-da-da. But this is sort of like a funky remix, which is
It's
really
like EDM, like
a little bit. So they are taking these original elements and they're stylizing it in a way that we haven't really seen or heard before.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because basically this especially the original trilogy was more like a space opera. Like this thing that happened long time ago.
That's
it felt like someone's like telling the story.
That's very
and it's
true.
kind of one of the fan theories that someone's actually like C-3PO is telling somebody the stories of this going on. With this movie though, it does feel like it takes place in that world, but they're not
it's less of a
bogged down, for lack of a better word, of like trying to tell a certain story. They are free to stay in this little bubble.
Yeah.
And you can literally do whatever you want. And even though it looks like Star Wars, because I agree with you, the way it's shot, the way it's edited and put together, and it has this old but new look, it doesn't feel like the originals.
Right.
But you can, by looking at it, I mean, obviously you can tell that it takes place in the same universe. But I like that's the only reason I enjoyed Rogue One, and I'm probably going to enjoy this because they have a lot of freedom to do what they want. And eventually when we get Obi-Wan, we're going to be pretty much get the exact same thing. It's going to look and feel the same, but they'll have liberties. When you're doing the episodic movies, you don't have as much because it literally, like, for example, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, they literally, one ended and the other one picked up exactly where it left off. With this, we can literally pick up Solo from anywhere. He can be an 8-year-old kid, he can be 13 years old, he can be in his early 20s, and then eventually, the only thing that we're going to know is at the end, he's probably going to be the smuggler that we met by episode 4. But other than that, it's an open book for the most part.
Right, yeah, so that's exciting. We talked about that before when we I think it was a lot of our Star Wars reviews in the past where we're talking about where they're going to go with the franchise. Just one more thought on the stylisticness of this versus the originals. The original, A New Hope, it felt very, like you said with the space opera, it feels very... There's a lot of really breathable moments where there's like sort of like these really quiet vistas, and they're like a lot of really quiet moments, really too. Even though obviously there's a lot of action in that film, there's sort of this creeping feeling where it's sort of like this slowness because you have to build the world, right? With this, we don't.
Faster paced.
It's definitely faster paced. Of course, maybe in the movie they will have some quieter moments, but I have a feeling that it's mainly going to be this sort of stylized, fast action adventure, and that's fine because they don't have to build the world. Like, even if you haven't seen Star Wars, like you know what it is, right?
Yeah,
it's like it takes place in space, and you know that you don't really have to build the world. You get it. There's lightsabers. There's the Force.
We know. Yeah,
like, it's part of our it's
it.
part of our cultural consciousness, even if you haven't seen the originals.
Definitely.
So they don't actually have to really do that in this. What they might want to do, though, and they probably will, is introduce new things into the universe that they've created. So,
and I think Woody Harrelson's character is going to have a lot to do with that. So I think there are going to be like the nice character moments that you were mentioning before, is because I think at Han Solo, we know at Han Solo's core, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's a loyal guy, and he's an honest guy. But I think somewhere along the way, and I think Woody Harrelson's character is going to help him with that, he kind of puts him on a different path for a little while to be the smuggler, to be like a bad guy, and then eventually we see that that Leia and Luke kind of put him back on the path I think he was supposed to be on.
Sure, I mean he's sort of an anti-hero. Really,
yeah,
when you think about it that way, he's sort of like a guy who breaks the rules. Like he doesn't really follow pirate doesn't really follow the law, but we still love him. He's still got that heart. Let's like Jack Sparrow.
Who played the original Han Solo?
Harrison Ford?
That's what I thought it was Harrison Ford, but I wasn't sure. So this is just younger Harrison Ford.
So basically this movie is going to take place a couple of years or maybe a decade or so before we meet Harrison Ford in episode 4.
Yeah, because he looked like childhood or like...
Yeah, he definitely looks young. Well, I mean, Harrison Ford looked pretty good back in the day, I must say. But, I thought they did a pretty good job casting. I'm curious about Emilia Clarke. She doesn't really extend past Game of Thrones as an actress.
Have you not seen Me Before You?
I heard that was not great.
It was a tearjerker, though.
I'm sure.
And she wasn't good in Terminator Genesis.
Well, I guess we just don't know her range. Maybe she's picking the wrong projects. Maybe she's gotten just peg-holed into her role as Daenerys Targaryen. But sort of in this, she's fantasy realm now. Like, maybe this is a time where she can shine.
I hope so, because I'm pretty sure the movie's going to give her a lot to play with. So, if she doesn't start in this, then maybe you're kind of right. Then maybe you should like stick with Game of Thrones, even though it's kind of ending.
Yeah, maybe this is just her niche, like the fantasy sort of thing. So we'll see. But there's really a lot to look forward to. We found out how old Chewie is, I guess, which I didn't realize he was that old.
Well, Wookiees can live up to like 400 years old.
Okay.
So like
I guess it's canon.
He's pretty young. He's like, he's 190 something, and that was back then. So probably by the time.
What is that in human years? I don't know. Can't do math. If you guys know, do the math for me.
Chewie's like the dog, so the dog lives like a whole bunch of years. He's fine.
Yeah. I was excited to see a lot of Chewie, and that'll be fun.
I hope he gets to figure out how they meet. I want to see that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, that's enough from us. What do you guys think? Are you excited about this movie? Do you think we're going to get another trailer? The movie comes out next month. I don't think we're going to get one. I hope we don't get one. I've seen enough. Save it for the theater. But let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Comment below. And then like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. When the movie comes out, we will definitely do a spoiler review of that as well. So you can look forward to that on the channel. But until then, I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.
I'm Mina.
Take care, guys, and may the force be with you.
May it indeed.
Always.